Thank you for joining me for this webinar where I'll be presenting the Adroit object model functionality within our SCADA software. So first off, just a quick look into the agenda. So first of all, just a small introduction into what exactly we're going to be talking about, what exactly object model is, what type of objects and equipment it can be used for, and then we're going to just go through a quick demonstration of how to create and configure the object model template, the instance, and then obviously deploying it and understanding where its value is and where it lies. So first of all, in terms of what object model is and how it can assist with decreasing SCADA engineering time, the main goal of object model is to help users save time with advanced use of existing wizards by adding predefined SCADA configuration, which can then be deployed at the click of a button as a single object. This then allows for reliable duplication of objects which can have all or some of their SCADA configuration pre-configured. Historically speaking, wizards have allowed for users to create animated graphical representations of equipment or objects for reuse and duplication. The key difference between using simple wizards and the object model functionality is the predefined SCADA configuration. For example, agent creation, scanning, logging, and alarming, which all in all comes into one single object instance for object model. The purpose of object model came from the idea of mass reuse of objects, which can therefore allow it to be thought of as a bulk configuration tool within the SCADA software, which also allows users to standardize a specific configuration for the equipment. So why did we bring in object model when we have wizards already as a functional way to display graphical representations of certain equipment? Well, generally, in terms of wizards, it's a very manual process in terms of obviously setting up the graphical representation, manually creating the agents, scanning them in, and then also setting up their logging and alarming configurations. And now basically, object model allows you to have a predefined configured instance of a wizard that can be duplicated by the click of a button based off of this object model functionality. In terms of the equipment and objects which it is generally used for, it's at the base, anything the user has already created a wizard to represent. And in terms of pumps, motors, valves, heaters, whatever equipment you feel is necessary to be duplicated, and there is a wizard to represent already. In terms of the components, the main challenges behind simply using a wizard over object model is any required SCADA-related configuration of an object or piece of equipment would be left up to the user to manually implement for each instance of the wizard. Thanks to object model, the user only needs to implement the required SCADA-related configuration to one object, and from there, the user can generate an object model template, which creates a foundation for multiple instances to be deployed with the same configuration. In terms of the actual components, what you'll need is, first of all, an Adroit configuration and project which you can work on, a fully working and configured instance of a wizard, and all the relevant tags, for instance, analogs, digitals for status, DB logs for database logging, etc. Now, I'm just going to take you guys all through a quick demonstration of how to set up the object model. First of all, the template, and then the instance, and then we'll go through, obviously, deploying that and understanding where its value lies. So first of all, what we're going to do, we're going to, as I mentioned before, you'll need an Adroit configuration and project. Right here, I'm on a colleague's project that they're busy working on. I've just used this as a foundation to do this example. So we're going to go straight here into their batching plant. And as we can see here, we have a bunch of stuff here in this batching process. For this example, specifically, I'm going to go ahead and use our heater, which, as you can see, is already a predefined wizard. We're going to go ahead and locate this wizard within our enterprise manager in Adroit. We're going to right-click, and we're going to select Create Object Template. Now, very simply, we get to set our substitution assignment, our tag substitution, excuse me, for our actual value and our target value. These will be the same. In terms of the status, we are actually, for this example, using an expression. Just one moment, please. And then simply giving this equipment a descriptor, which obviously it's a heater. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And then I just need to set the unit, which degrees Celsius. All right, so we have that all set up. We can click finish, and then we will be met by the first step. The first step of the configuration wizard. Now, this allows us to first of all set up a custom template name. I've a simple wizard up here that's set for this specific example. So what we're going to do, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to make this 05, just for instance, so it's unique. And then we have the option to select a descriptor, excuse me. In which case, you know, this is normal equipment, so we're going to go to our equipment category and we're going to select heater. All right. Within this window, you can also select and add in associated wizards should you have any other wizards that need to be linked to this specific template, which in this case we don't need. You can also go ahead and edit the substitutions if you wish to do so. All right, so now that this is all sorted, we're going to carry on through the wizard. Clicking next, we come up to this page here, which lets us review, select, add, or remove any agents that you would like to be related to this template. For this case, I don't actually need this beeper here, so I'm going to deselect that. And as you can see on the right-hand side here, it depopulates depending on what you add or remove. All right, so this is all set up fine, so we're going to click on next. All right, next we can obviously just double check our agent substitution assignments. Just a quick review here. Again, very configurable. You can add substitutions, remove them however you wish. Right now, this is perfectly set up for what we need, so we're going to carry on through. This dialog box is just kind of specifying that there are no configurable slots within these tags over here, which is fine. I don't need to configure any of those slots, so we can carry on through by pressing OK. Again, I really do enjoy this configuration wizard due to the fact that it's very flexible in terms of being able to configure everything before carrying on through, allowing you to make each template itself unique. So for instance here, we have our heater status tag, which is an expression. It's set up accordingly. We don't need to make any changes. The same for the analogs and everything else, the digitals, string list, etc. Everything's set up accordingly, so I don't need to change anything here, but if you wish to do so, you can obviously do that. All right, so we can carry on forward. In terms of scanning, again, very flexible. You can go ahead up and set up your entire scanning configuration in terms of, first of all, selecting the applicable device, what addresses you would like to scan to within the device, its scan rate, whether or not you'd like for the output enabled to be enabled, etc. This is all set up fine, so we can carry on forward. Again, just a quick review in terms of the device that you've selected. Again, you can configure a few things down here. We don't need to. You can also obviously change the driver if you wish to do so, but we don't need to at this point. Carrying on through. In terms of our data logging, this is just general data logs which have been set up for certain tags. Again, very configurable. You can set up how often you want it to be periodically logged, what the rate would be, the certain trigger of the log, etc. You can also configure your housekeeping accordingly. So carrying on through, we come to our DB logging summary. Now this is used generally for if you would like to log any information to, let's say, an SQL database. You can also go ahead and set this all up here. We've got this set to log on interval. You can set up your SQL connection string should you wish, etc. But this is all predefined due to the fact that we're already created wizard from the user. And this is also obviously per tag. You can select whichever tag you wish to use and go from there. All right, carrying on through. Please excuse me one moment. Excuse me. All right, so now we're on our alarming summary, where again, you can configure anything related to alarming for certain tags. Here we've just set up one of our tags, our actual tag analog, just to alarm on a low or high. We can also set the applicable route. You can say whether or not you would like for that alarm to be acknowledged or not, and you can also set whether or which priority it should fall under. All right, moving forward. This I quite like. You can add in certain attributes for this template. For this example, I'm just going to simply go here and add in a manufacturer theoretically. Oh, excuse me. We're going to say hypothetically, should Mitsubishi be the manufacturers of this heater, we're going to put in here Mitsubishi Electric FA, and we have that attribute now assigned to this template. All right. So we can carry on forward. Very similar to earlier on in the wizard, we had the opportunity to link up any associated wizards with this template. We didn't need to do that here. You have the same option of doing it with templates. Again, we don't need to do that right now, so we can carry on forward. All right, so if you have any scripts that you would like to include within the template or have the template utilize, you can also go ahead and include those by ticking this option over here. All right, so now we're just going to click on finish. And as you'll see, we have a new template that's populated within our enterprise manager. And this is a predefined template that you've obviously gone ahead and just configured. You have the option to edit it. You can create, you can check what it's being used by. Generally, that will specify whether or not there's an instance that's been created based off of that template. Just for one that I've used prior, here we go. We can see that this instance is related to this template. All right, so just to give you a quick demonstration of the instance applicable template within the enterprise manager, right click and click on create new instance of this template. Again, this is going to be very similar to the whole process of setting up the template itself. However, this configuration now is going to be solely tailored to this specific instance. So, for instance, now we've got that heater set up. We want to call it, let's say, this instance is going to be a heater 01. All right. We can check the hierarchy over here of the templates and any of the attributes that have been set. Again, you can add additional ones should you have not added them in the template, or if you would like them to be unique to the specific instance. All right, so we're going to carry on through this wizard. Again, we're going to add in a descriptor which will be used as the tag name that will substitute in for these specific substitutions over here. So for this, we're just going to say heater _05. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and just populate all these areas where there are red crosses. The configuration wizard is very nice in terms of, showing you where there are any issues. And if you obviously have it all correct, it will, show so with a valid tick. Again, for this specific instance, you can also go through all of this here. The scanning configuration, logging, alarming, slot configuration, etc. And if you should you wish to change it for this unique instance, you can do so. All right, so we're going to carry on going through. Again, just a review in terms of the device that we're using and scanning to. Everything's fine here, so we can carry on forward. This is basically just, this dialog box is just warning me that these two addresses here within the PLC have already been scanned to. That's fine. We don't have a problem with that. We're going to be using those same addresses, so we can carry on forward by pressing yes. All right, just in terms of your DB logs, again, just the configuration for this unique instance, you can obviously set any of these logs to log to a database. Let's say most of these tags are using an interval of 10 seconds. Let's change this one to 5 seconds just for the specific instance, and we can carry on forward, just ensuring that everything is set up correctly per tag. All right. All right, so this is just a quick review in terms of the substitutions, in terms of the graphical representation. We know this has all been done correctly. We can just double check here. It's actually added in all of our descripting information here to the new tag. That's perfect. That's what we want, so we can carry on forward. All right. And now quickly, just finally, we can choose whether or not we would like to deploy this instance now, or if we'd like to do it later. Obviously, for this demonstration, we're going to deploy it now. Again, very configurable. You can choose what you want deployed, what you want configured, and you can also choose whether or not you want the agent server to be saved. And should there be any data element security, you can also have that included. All right, so now that's the wizard. We're going to click on Finish. All right, it's going to bring up this window, which basically takes us through a summary of what's going on. We're going to go through to our warnings. It's going to throw some warnings at us just due to things that are already existing in the system. For instance, we have a device named batch already created, so we don't need that to be created. We also have these alarm routes created already, so it's not going to go try and create them again. But this will detail any errors, warnings, or anything that you might need to worry about should there be any issues. All right, so we're all done here. So we can close this window. We can go back through to our Enterprise Manager, and we can look for our newly created instance, which is this one over here. And we can go ahead and we can, first of all, remove this old wizard, which was manually set up. We can take the new instance, we drop into our plant right there, put it in place, and we can actually see that it's fully functional, much like the wizard was. However, we can go into our configurator quickly. And just to confirm that everything was set up correctly, we're going to check here, and we can see here that we had brand new tags created for us. The scanning configuration has been done automatically, as well as the alarming configuration and the logging configuration. We can go through to our dblog agent. We can see here at the top here, the 2 applicable tags for our DB logs have been added in as well, with the applicable connection string, the correct table name, housekeeping configuration, etc. All right. And then finally, we can obviously just go through to our expression here, and we can see here, excuse me, over here, that our expression for our status has also been set up accordingly, with the correct applicable tag that needs to be referenced. And that's basically the value. We with the wizards, you have to go manually set everything up accordingly. It can be a very mundane process, and it can take up a lot of engineering time. Whereas here you can create multiple instances based off of this template here that we've created, and simply drop them into the page, and everything gets created for you automatically, pre-generated. Very nice, quick and easy way to do it. I mean, let's say there was 10 to 15 minutes worth of configuration, and now we can simply just go and drop everything onto a page. Any unique instance that we would like to create and drop onto the page, we can do so with a click of a button. All right. So thanks everyone for joining. That was the quick webinar and demonstration of how to configure and utilize the object model. All in all, it's a very quick and easy way to decrease your engineering time in terms of SCADA configuration. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to give me a shout either on my cell phone or pop me a mail. I'll be happy to send through some information and help you wherever necessary. All right. Thanks, everyone.